Morning. Good morning and happy New Year. Yay. Gone with 2020, in with 2021. I am so happy to be here with you and um, share with you my intention today to do a new quilt for a new year. I see I have a friend. Hi there. Just write in the comments who's watching, where you're watching from. So I'm Rosie the Quilter. And if you've seen me before, you know I have a couple of Etsy shops, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about today. What I'm going to be talking about is actually making a new quilt. Today, I've done this before a couple of times each January. So now this year is the time to do a totally new quilt. And I've went through my stash to find some fabric to use and fabric colors to use, and I'm really happy to share the process of making this quilt with you today. So, just to tell you, so what's going to happen today? First, I'm going to talk about how I decided on this particular quilt design. You see it on my design wall behind me, and how I'm going to proceed with making that. Of course, it's going to be a lot bigger than what you see there. And through the course of the day, I'll be coming in again, chiming in to show the progress that I'm making and answer, oh, incredibly, answer any questions you have about what I'm doing as I'm quilting and sewing. Any questions you have about the process in what you do and how you do it. You see in the back there, I have my ironing board all set up, ready to go, and I am looking forward to having a great time today. So, without further ado, let's go into what kind of quilt today I'm doing. So, I had been thinking about making a star quilt or making a coin quilt. And of course, a star quilt would be, stars. Honestly, I decided to do both. So, I'm going to be trying to work on both of them. And maybe tomorrow I'll show you what the star quilt looks like. But today I wanted to focus in these little live events on the coin quilt. Now, a friend of mine asked, so what is a coin quilt? And a coin quilt is when you have fabrics that are all the same size and it's just vertically arranged and sewn together in long columns. So column quilt, coin quilt. That's how it's came to be known. And it's a you can make it with scrappy things. Is a wonderful way to get rid of scraps in your stash because you can make them small. The pieces that I'm using are uh, four four and a half by 9.5, and I'm using four different colors. The focus fabric for this quilt is a fabric I bought several years ago that focuses on the Beatitudes. That's the sayings from the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the merciful, blessed are the meek, blessed are uh, the peacemakers. You all are kind of familiar with that. And this particular fabric color, I think you could kind of see, is is not quite brown. It's kind of like a dark gold. But what's really nice about it is that some of it is darker or lighter in certain areas. So it has a kind of burnished look. And I thought for myself, I do so many quilts that are made with flowers. And as you can see, what am I wearing? A shirt with flowers. I wanted to make this quilt as a quilt that you might give to a gentleman friend because it doesn't have all those flowers on it. However, what it does have is lovely texture. So, like with the green, I think you can see it here. It has that kind of mottled look, and if you can see really close, you see those kind of veins going undulating over and over and around. And I found a black, which I bought this black, I think well over a year ago. But again, with this black, it has the same qualities that the green had. And that's why they're going together in this quilt. But I have to have something to just add a little flavor. So I'm going with this as a brown. But as you can see, it's not just brown, it's got speckles of red and green as and gold in there. So that adds some punch to the quilt. All of these things are things that you think about when you're designing a quilt. Over and above the pattern, what kind of fabrics are you going to use? So that's I started first with this, the main fabric, the focus fabric, and then built out from there what colors I would use with it, knowing that it was going to be a large throw. When completed, it'll be about 60 by 72, 75, depending on how big I make the outer border and how big I always have to have an inner border and an outer border. So depending on how big those are, will determine the final size of the quilt. So as you see behind me here, that's one of the other things I always like to do. I like to sketch out my quilts so that I understand what am I doing. So if you have a plan of software that can design what you want, that's always good to have. This is from eQuilter 7. But as you can see, my color printer is running out of ink. So my green looks blue and my brown looks eh. But as long as you know what's supposed to go there, it'll be fine. And just to make sure I do know, I have another one where I actually sketched out the whole thing with the actual uh, the color placements for the fabrics. I think that's kind of important when you are to the stage of your quilting, when you are ready to start um, designing your own quilt instead of just working solely on what does this pattern call for, what colors does the pattern call for. Once you break free of that, you the whole world of quilting opens for you. And I'm going to just break for a second, see if there are any questions that people are asking. Oops, a daisy. I think I have this so that anybody can make comments. So I'm just going to invite people to go ahead and ask questions. And so, what we're going to do for the rest of the day here. So, I've had a couple of introductory remarks on what I'm going to do. I'm going to, as you can see, I've started to lay out my quilt, and I will start sewing it, and then I will come back like every 2 hours or so during the course of the day to show uh, my progress and some comments on how it's been going. I'll also be monitoring Facebook so that if you have questions um, after this has posted uh, as to what I'm doing, you can ask questions and I can reply and carry it up the next time I go live. So that being said, I think it's just about time for me to get to work. Uh, so let's see how many people are watching. Okay, the faithful five. So if you could let me know who you are, so I could at least greet you, that would be lovely. Okay, so we have Wanda. Hi, Wanda. What was the name of the program that you use where you can plan out your quilts? And the reason why I read that aloud is in case anybody, you know, missed when you typed it. It's called e-quilter and it's version 7. I think it's out, maybe version 9 is out now because I know I bought that years ago and I never did upgrade it because quite honestly, I'm using it for the bare bones of just outlining my quilts. Another nice thing that it does is that it'll give you the fabric uh, estimate that you will need in order to complete your quilt. So if you tell it, I'm going to do a quilt with 5 rows, 5 columns, and 14 rows, and some are some are green, some are black, some are brown, some are whatever, it can tell you, well, given those parameters, those criteria, how much of each fabric will you need to complete your quilt. So that's why I love it. It's called eQuilter. I think it's up to version 9 now, but it's worth the buy. It's worth the buy. Um, I mean, you could work it out yourself because one of the nice things I like about quilting is that it's all based on math. But you know, some of us are better at math than others. Yes, Wanda, eQuilter, not equilt, eQuilter. Electronic quilter. I call it eQuilter for short. You'll probably find it, but it's el- electronic quilter. Hi, Christy and Sheila. Happy New Year to you all. So, that being said, ladies, um, now I'm I'm just going to get started sewing, and then when I come back at around 12:30, I'll be back on at 12:30 to show how much progress I've made. Uh, that'll be interesting, huh? See how fast I could quilt, I could sew. But it's not so much on the speed; it's on accuracy, right? You have to cut accurately, and you have to sew accurately. And one of the things I know some of you have AccuQuilt, so that you don't have to worry about using the rotary and the mat and the ruler. I don't really like the AccuQuilt because then you have to get all the dies. And what if you have to do 5 1/4 instead of 5 1/2? You'll still have to use the ruler if you only have a 5 1/2 die, right? So that's why I I'm old fashioned. Isn't that funny? Remember when old fashioned meant you use scissors? Now old fashioned means I still use a rotary blade, but I use the little green glove to protect my hand. Very, very important. Tell me how I know. And that's another story. Oh, I see I've been joined by a couple other people. So let me quickly just say, um, Rosie the Quilter, I'm going to be quilting in a day today. So if it takes into the night, it takes into the night, you're going to see a completed top at the very least. Maybe I might even get to base the bloody thing. But if not basic today, you'll see in during the course of the month, I will definitely get it finished and show you the finished product. And and like I said, if you have any questions, please add them to the comments. After this post, you'll be able to could still continue to add comments and questions, and I will address those when I come back on at 12:30. So I'll give you a few more seconds if you're trying to type something. If you're like me, not so fast anymore. And then I will sign off and get to sewing. I hope you all had a lovely New Year's Eve. And thank God we're all together here on New Year's Day. Here in Waldorf, Maryland, it looks like it's going to be a cloudy day, but I'll take that over anything else. All right, then, folks, you take care. I will see you in about 2 hours. Bye for now.